In this video, I just wanted to do a quick PBX update and then highlight a Blue Box Emulator as well as something really cool that you can do on CNET. So first of all, I wanted to go through my extensions briefly again. I know it seems like I'm changing them almost every time, but hopefully this time it'll at least stay this way for some time. So this is still 101 over here. 102 I am saving for this green Western Electric 500 once I get it hooked up. Previously the cord was just cut at the end. Right now I put some spade lug connectors on the end. I still have to get it hooked up to a connection block, but hopefully it should be hooked up soon. But in the meantime, I'm saving 102 for this phone. And then this is now 103, 104, 105, and then 106. And then these two phones are both 107. So just to showcase what that means, I can call 107 from this phone here. So you can hear that they're both ringing. If I take one off hook, of course the other one will stop ringing. So for me personally, these two phones made the most sense to hook up to the same extension. One of the reasons being they are both push-button phones. I'm not going to use the word touch tone because this phone, even though it is a push-button, can only do pulse dialing. You'll see there's a touch tone pulse conversion switch there, except the touch tone function here does not work. So this is a pulse dial phone only, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a push-button phone. This one here does not even have a switch. This is touch tone only and it works fine. So this one is touch tone, this one is pulse dial, even though they're both push-button phones. But they're both hooked up to the same extension. They're both made by, this one is made by Conair phone, this one is made by Cortelco. So neither of them are Western Electric phones. So you'll notice that I left extension 108 out, and that is because this is extension 108 right here. You'll see that there is a long cord just trailing along the floor. And I've hooked up this 100-foot phone cable I recently got to its own extension, just so I don't have to use a coupler. It makes things easier. And if I want to connect a phone to it, for example, in a different room, I can just unplug one of these phones and then plug it directly into the end of this cord instead of using a coupler. It just makes things easier. So here we are downstairs. As you can see, I've plugged this 500 phone with the G6 handset into the end of this cord again. And first I wanted to do a Blue Box demo. I know I did one in a previous video, but that was before I had an emulator and I was just playing raw wave files. So I have actually put together a simple emulator that we can use for this video. So I'm going to highlight the number that we're going to be using today. It's a different time and temp number than the one I used in my last video. As you can see, it's in the 414 area code, and the number is 844-1212. So we can call that number using Google Voice, just so you know what it will sound like.
The time and temperature is coming up after this. If you or a loved one has diabetes and you have insurance, you may qualify to receive diabetic testing supplies.
Of course, many time and temp numbers, unlike back in the day now, make you listen to an advertisement first. So we'll just wait for that here.
Now. Or to hear the time and temperature, just stay on the line. Today is Thursday, August 17th. The current time, 8:49 a.m. and the temperature 73 degrees.
And the call ended automatically. So that is the number that we will be calling. So here is the emulator that I have put together. I have put it on one of my websites here. You can see the URL there if you want to use it. This is free and open to the public, so anyone can use it. And it looks pretty simple. You don't see anything here that looks like a blue box. And if you read the instructions here, you'll find out that it works entirely from the keyboard. So by pressing keys, that is what makes the Blue Box Emulator work. And it's all very simple JavaScript. If you want, you can view the source code for this. And it's all very simple. It's just over 100 lines of code here. It's a very simple emulator, but it works for our purposes here. And you can see that in this emulator, again, I created this and assigned entirely arbitrary letter assignments. But in this emulator, KP was assigned the K key, ST was assigned the S key, and obviously the number keys, you can use either the number keys or the number pad. So either these number keys at the top, or you can use this number pad here, provided you have numlock on. And indeed, here we do. So we just press some keys here. You can hear some tones. I'll press the K key. So it's pretty loud if we press 0. And these are all the MF tones that would be emitted by blue boxes. So it's basically a blue box emulator, works right from your keyboard. So and I forgot to mention 2600 Hertz I assigned to the H key. I couldn't assign a number key to it, obviously, so I just assigned H for Hertz. Again, I could have chosen any character on the keyboard. Those I just thought made some sense. So as you can see here, I have once again coupled this telephone handset's mouthpiece to this headset here, which is now plugged in. And the phone is not happy because it has been left off hook. It needs to be in order for this coupling to work. But we can now dial the CNET number that allows for blue boxing. So we'll start with 2600 Hertz, KP, and then the numbers. So you can hear that we were successfully able to blue box into the PSTN using this emulator. And how is this different from what we were doing last time? Well, obviously, using something like this with the keyboard is a lot easier than manually opening files. And you can hear that we were successfully able to call time and temp. So hopefully that was enjoyable. And that's just a quick demo of how you can use this. But again, you can go to this website here, this web page, and use this Blue Box emulator for free. I'm sure there are other Blue Box emulators out there, but I did not find anything that runs easily in your browser. Usually, there are Blue Box emulators that you can download for your computer, for instance, but those require installation, and that's just a lot of work for something that could easily be run from your browser. So with any modern browser, you can just run a Blue Box Emulator right in your computer, and if you have a telephone, you have access to a telephone system that allows for blue boxing, like that number I just dialed on CNET, then you can take advantage of this and do some phone freaking just like they did in the 50s and 60s. So I'm going to do another demo now of something really cool that you can do when you're hooked into a system like CNET that allows you to utilize all sorts of cool electromechanical switching equipment that various individuals have set up for public use throughout the country and actually the world, as a matter of fact. So this particular demo requires 2 CNET connections, and as I only have one through my analog telephone adapter, we will use one of the PSTN inbounds through Google Voice for the other connection. So I will just use the inbound number I have been using before. And we can dial our number. And you can hear that our connection is kind of cutting in and out. And for whatever reason, it's a little choppy for the first 20 or 30 seconds. But what this is a live recording, a live audio feed from a privately owned central office in Oregon. And actually, if we go to the directory and look up this number, member listings, you'll see here, this is the number we have dialed with all the 7s in it. You can see it says live listen in to the switch room. It's a live audio feed of the switch room, 24/7 on CNET. So this is actually what it sounds like inside the central office. This is all the electromechanical switching equipment. And it doesn't sound very exciting right now because nothing's actually going on. And that's where the second CNET connection comes into play. What we will do is we will dial a number in the central office, and you will hear what is going on inside the central office when our second call is being routed. What I'm actually going to do is call a telephone inside the central office. So first you'll hear the switching equipment, the electromechanical step-by-step switching equipment, route the call, and then after a few seconds you will actually hear a telephone ring. So while we're listening to this, we can dial that number. And in a few seconds, you should hear something. There you go. And you can now hear the telephone ringing in the background. If we hang this phone up, you could hear the connection terminate as well.